Okay, so we've got a quorum here. It's 7:01. I believe that Area 58 actually has us potentially live streaming right now, so we're talking to the community as it is. I don't know how Area 58 is putting it out there, whether they just focus on one person or they take an entire set of the tiles of each individual person. I have everyone tiled, so that gives me an idea as to what's going on. I'm not going to. I think I've been given co-hosting ability.
Not it.
Not my co. I think I have co-hosting abilities, but I'm not sure. On the other hand, I don't really need co-hosting ability as long as we don't talk over each other, because then with co-hosting or hosting, I can mute everyone. Only the person who wants to talk can be unmute. Dale, don't make so much noise. So, at any rate, I'll call the meeting to order, and let me explain. I posted this on the website, basically said that this is going to be a video conference meeting held using Zoom, and I wrote in big bold letters, if anyone from the public wants to participate, they had to contact me, and I gave them my email address at least 24 hours in advance of the meeting. I was contacted by no one 24 hours in advance, therefore we have no visitors physically in our meeting room.
Yeah.
So these are the members of the committee. We have Kevin Tracy, we have Fran Mello, we have Connie Shea, we have Gail Nowen, who's
Looks like she's muted.
she's someplace.
Yeah.
We have Mary Ross, and I'm Bob Bentley, the chair, and we have Darlene Whittemore, our secretary. So as I said, I'm not going to mute everyone, so hopefully we won't talk over each other, and we can get this thing moving on nicely. So the first order of business is approval of minutes. Darlene sent out a corrected set of minutes today. I think it was only to change one word from Sylvia to Silva. So has everyone had a chance to take a look at them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Yes, sir.
Any questions, comments, opinions, omissions?
I do have, is it, because I was not at that meeting, I was just curious, is that two different projects?
No.
The Silver Street and the South Meadow Road.
Yeah.
Yes, those are two different projects, but it's only the Silver Street project that is considered affordable. The South Meadow Road project does have an affordable component to it, but it's just your standard Form A kind of developments.
Okay.
The project on Silver Street will be 100% affordable.
Okay.
It's the
That's-
same,
that's what that-
it's the same company doing both projects.
Yes, it is.
And my husband went to a meeting for it. I couldn't go because I had a ZBA meeting. And what they're actually looking to do is they're looking to move the affordable units from South Meadow onto Silver. So there is also a bill or a bylaw change going before town meeting having to do with transfer rights. And that's all tied in on this one, two projects, one company.
Correct.
So, so the affordable, they want to move all the affordable onto Silver Street.
Correct. That's their objective.
Is that the, I don't know, 50 acres or so near the pond?
No.
No,
No,
John's Pond?
no.
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 This land actually has access into Silver Street off of 58.
Correct.
But that's not the access they're gonna be using as proposed. They want to come off 58 through the first house south of the intersection. That's what was proposed at the selectmen's meeting.
Right. Correct.
Off 58?
Correct.
58, yes.
All right. And as I understand it, there's a potential that any of these zoning articles may not be taken up at the end of the month's town meeting. It may be taken up in a fall town meeting instead.
I thought they
I
moved
think that's a
all
good
of-
idea because I don't think anybody has had enough time to look at these zoning articles because it all hit when they were beginning to discuss them. And there's a lot, like I tried to read through the zoning article for the solar, they want to change the solar bylaw. You have got to be kidding me. The thing's about 500, Connie, I think you posted it. It's very, very involved.
Yeah, I know they moved a lot of things, and I haven't had the opportunity to go through the current, what the new warrant is, so I'm not sure where we're standing right now. But I thought they had tabled the planning board articles till the autumn. I might be mistaken.
I had thought they would start talking about doing that. This upcoming town meeting, I have to say, I'm glad I'm not town moderator anymore. The
Good point.
Yeah.
running it is going to be a real issue because it's, from what I'm hearing, it's got to be socially distanced. Therefore, they're going to have
Yeah.
2 rooms, and therefore you have to have an assistant moderator in the second room who can communicate to the moderator so that the people in the second room are able to actually ask questions to the main room. It's
Yeah.
going to be a huge challenge,
Yep.
and I'm not unhappy that I'm able to sit in the audience.
They decided, I'm just asking, have they decided how they're gonna allow people, who's gonna be allowed, any of that?
Yeah.
I talked briefly with Kara, and I understand it's still majorly under discussion.
Okay.
It'll
I-
probably be first come, first serve into the auditorium.
Right.
And then after a certain number in the auditorium, they'll start moving people into to the back room. But I kind of agree that I think you're at a disadvantage if you're not all together in one room.
I would agree.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you don't see the number of hands. You don't see, that there's, 80 questions that are, 80 hands up that want to ask questions. You don't see any of that. And I can't imagine that Area 58 is going to be able to video the other room to the main room or vice versa so that you can see what's going on there.
I don't know why they don't use the entire auditorium and put the out-of-town people in the next room.
They're already talking about that, but they're saying that even with that, they're not expecting they're going to be able to have enough seating in the.
I think the count that I saw read somewhere was like 135 with the correct distance would fit in the auditorium.
Including the back?
Including using the balcony, however you want to describe it.
And by definition, we have articles for bonded indebtedness, and therefore your quorum is 150.
Exactly.
So you have
Could
to
you fit more people in the gym?
We'll do it old school.
Members will be sitting
Well,
together.
Could you fit more people in the gym, do you think?
I've heard of towns that are doing it out in the parking lots,
Yeah.
On our football field.
Oh,
So, really? All right, so let's get back to the minutes now.
yeah.
Yeah.
If I don't hear any corrections, additions, or omissions, or I guess I have one correction made. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
I
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. review of ongoing projects, the elementary school fields project. I haven't heard anything new on. Mary, do you have any?
I have not heard anything. We had a recreation meeting last night, and Dave, it was Zoomed, and he came in, and after he left, I thought to ask him, and I'm going to see him tomorrow, so if you'd like, I can email you, Bob, and you can update everyone.
Sure, that'd be
I
great.
don't know. I know that they were not going to accept the fields until more work was done.
Okay,
And you know, meaning close them out, pay the final bill. They had been withholding money.
yep,
And so I don't know if all that work has been done. I
okay,
know the fields are not ready to be used regardless till next year, I guess.
really, wow,
I think, because the first seeding did not take place. It didn't happen well. And so, but I have a meeting with Dave tomorrow, so I can ask him
okay,
and then update everyone.
sure, that'd be great.
Okay.
How about the ball fields playground project?
The ball fields and playgrounds project is really coming along really nicely. I wish Jim was here to tell you that the bathrooms are in process, Fran.
Excellent.
And by what I mean by in process, the materials I believe have been ordered, and we are going to have a timed lock on the bathrooms so that, and I'm not sure who's going to be the keeper of the timer. Those are some things that still need to be worked out. In our discussion last night, we will be ready to open, I believe, June 22nd. That's assuming that there's no delays on the next phases. The fencing is supposed to go up next week. The poles are all there, and then the netting will go on after that. There's more infield mix that needs to go on the 2 baseball fields, and to bring them up to the right height. You know, they allowed them to settle over the winter. And the softball fields have not been done yet, but I believe that's probably going to happen, if not in June or July, then in the fall.
Okay,
I know the men's softball are hoping to get a bit of a season in. Baseball, we were told they can do some practices or not really pickup games. They will be more organized than that, but on July 6th, I believe, I've been given clearance, again, barring any upset. They have been given clearance to begin to play, changing out the ball and having them disinfected every other inning. Kids that are in the infield where base runners would be near them, they all have to wear masks. Kids, while they're playing in the outfield, do not, but when they're up at bat, I think you really have to want to play baseball in order to go through all this, you know, but I think the kids probably do want to play that much, you know. They're not doing any out of town stuff. They may have there won't be any league out of town stuff. They may get a call from Plymouth or someplace and, you know, they can play something, but they have opted to not officially pay the dues for the Cal Ripken League this year. And they will have all the same insurances for everybody, but they're not using the schedule that they provide and all that kind of paperwork things that baseball does. So that the fields are in great shape. The wet spring really helped with the sod. And I don't know who has been to the playground. Anyone? It's amazing. The poured in place surface is everywhere under equipment. We have in the toddler section, there is a concrete pad going all the way around the in-the-ground sandbox. And there's an elevated ADA compliant sandbox that stands up about 3 feet. And so there's a concrete walkway there that a child in a wheelchair, or with a walker, could wheel right up there. The rest of the walkways around in between the areas for the ADA compliance, they used the parking lot material and then put a special kind of stone dust that hardens like a tar, but will not like come apart and stuff. So it's much less expensive than if we had paid someone to come in and put in, the black hot top. So the few things that need to be done, the bathrooms, the swings and that kind of stuff, and we need to be hung, but they have to be hung by the certified installers. Then we need to, I don't have my paper in front of me. There's just little cleaning up things, it's really pretty much good to go. If you do get a chance, go down and take a look at it. It's quite nice. I believe we are not going to do a formal ribbon cutting or anything, at least at this time, because you can't have a crowd. So, and for the 6 of us to be there, it seems a little silly. And I don't know, there's a need. Everyone knows it's there, and there are many thank yous that need to be done. So that's the next month of getting all those things done. The signs, we have more signs coming up. What we decided last night, we were going to have signs made that we're going to have some activities that are outdoor activities. They're educational in nature. And so we're putting kind of like the candidates lawn signs that says this is a Carver Recreation, not sponsored, but an endorsed event following all safety and health guidelines, just so that people know that it's not just a random thing. It's actually following all the guidelines. In a couple of weeks, we have yoga starting on the Forest Street field. And that's pretty much it, I think.
Okay.
Mind me asking a question? I'm wondering where they are on the budget on it. Are they under budget?
There was a $40,000 shortfall, and FinCom approved to pay that. And the donations that we have collected so far will pay for any additional signage and things like that. And we, on the Recreation Committee, gave permission to Dave to take whatever is left of our budget from this year that we hadn't spent because there was a freeze on, if he needed to cover anything. I think we honestly got a lot for that. Everything that was determined, like the bathrooms is included in the shortfall. Everything has been paid for. It's just if there's new things that have to come up. If we decide we need to add additional benches, for example, we have the materials to make some. We need to determine how many bench areas we want.
I have 2 questions.
Sure.
The first one is, what was done with lighting?
Nothing yet. That is going forward in the future. Remember, there was 2 or 3 years of this plan.
But lighting was something that was covered under one of the segments, the $90,000 segment with the bathrooms. That was part, I know it all went into a pot, but lighting was part of that.
We did not, I did not honestly ask Dave last night about the lighting. The project, once we had ordered all of the materials, recreation's part was, I guess, done. But we weren't letting that happen. So we kept reaching out and trying to be included. And so that may be in the fall. I don't know that for sure, but in the next year phase, I believe.
My second question is, will there be a large and prominent sign, this project funded by community preservation funds?
I'm meeting the beginning of the week with the sign people. And yes, I think there should be a sign that says that.
I do too. I'd like
Yes.
to put that out to the committee because we do have funds that we could do that, but I think that there should be a permanent sign there.
I was trying.
Yes, and we're trying to come up with a design. I would think that would be on the top of it, and all the other people that donated would also be, I think, on the same sign, if the committee's in agreement with that. I don't have a vision yet of what it totally looks like, but the brass plates that was on the equipment in the original equipment, we had said we were going to keep those.
Yep.
And put them, say, on the back of one sign and put new ones on the other side. And I haven't got any idea of what the cost of that is yet.
Mary,
Yes?
Mary, I have an
Yeah.
idea about the sign. You're saying, in addition to what Fran talked about, sponsored or however we word it about CPC supported project, if you start adding all of those other names and organizations or whatever else that you wanted to add, not only will it kind of decrease the space, I don't know how big you want the sign, you know, the intent of the sign, and then if you had something with other organizations or the large donations, you might want to think about that being a little bit more fluid. You know, those additions, in other words, if there's the CPC and then all of these organizations all on one sign, it's not only crowds it, but it doesn't give an opportunity for more people that support it to maybe be acknowledged. It just becomes more complicated to put all of that in one sign.
What my thought had been, and again, I don't know how much of this is actually doable yet, that on the back side of wherever the sign would be all the donations from the past playground. They were actually little brass plates.
Oh, okay.
So we would duplicate on the front with the current donations on a brass plates. So you got to go up to the sign and read it. You're not going to see it from, 20 feet away. You know what I mean?
Well, to that extent, I've been trying to rack my brain in terms of how many signs we had made up a number of years ago. And it strikes me that there may be still one or two signs available in Dick Ward's barn.
Oh, okay.
That just call out the fact that this is a CPC project. So let me check with Dick and see if there's any available, because if there are, then I would like to get one placed at the site.
Yes.
Which specifically.
We have a couple of very nice grassy areas that one could go.
Right.
So are you pretty much saying that this CPC sign, the acknowledgement, will be separate from all of these other names from previous playgrounds and all that type of thing?
That's what Bob just said, yes.
As far as
Okay.
as long as we have them available, if not, we may be able to we may just want to take the one that we presently have sitting on Lakenham Green, or the one we have sitting down at Marcus Atwood, and
I don't think we should move any of the ones that are already out there in the community. I think that we have enough funding that if we need to go out and make the right sign for this project, I mean, it's not going to be that much money.
We just have to
Right.
find out who the person was that printed it, and they probably have the template. Hopefully.
At this point, I know we can't find out
It
who
was
did
a
it.
long time ago. It
I-
was
well,
probably 8, 9 years ago.
It was
No,
done, it was done at the time.
I think I might be able to tap into figuring that out, at least exploring it anyway.
It was done by John Ranella, so.
Oh,
Okay.
That was a long time ago.
And I just think
But the
that
placement of them, okay, all right.
I mean, I think the sign can be duplicated so that they're
Yes.
consistent with what else we have in town. But I
Yes,
think each of the projects that we have a sign on is a significant project, and I don't think we should take them down.
Yes, I agree.
so.
Yeah.
So I will talk with Dick and see if he has any sitting in his barn. Or maybe he'll just say, come over and look in my barn for me.
Yeah.
But, you know, if we have any, that's great. Otherwise, I can look into getting some duplicated.
Okay. And
Good.
that would be fine with all of us. That was one of the things I was going to ask. I don't know how big you wanted it, what you wanted, you know, if you had a standardized idea of what you wanted as a sign.
I
Well, I
think there's one down at the Council on Aging.
Right, there's one there. There's also one at Lakenham Green.
I think I've seen that one, yeah.
That's the approximate size and size of lettering that I think we need.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that's not a problem.
Okay, moving on. Any other old business? Okay, moving on to new and continuing business. There are no bills payable, I'm glad to say. I'm not glad to say that our committee membership has changed slightly because we received a letter of resignation from Zach, who is moving out of town and moving to Middleborough. So he is no longer going to be able to be on the committee, and therefore we have no housing representative on the committee. I haven't done anything about this since it was right around the time Michael was leaving. I haven't talked to Rick yet, even though I've got my dibs in to talk to him. I still haven't had a chance to talk to him. So we are definitely looking for another affordable housing or a housing representative on the committee. Public records request update. Let's see, after our last meeting, which was in February, I ended up having a discussion in late February, on the 28th of February, with Duke Eldridge, who was the author of the public records request. And it was sort of an out of the blue type of thing. He called me, and I reluctantly called him back. But in the process of talking to him, he was able to tell me that he didn't care about monies that were expended by the CPC on the Marcus Atwood House. He was caring more about other stuff outside of the Marcus Atwood House, such as expansion of the Marcus Atwood House, such as moving to the adjacent property and taking that by eminent domain, that sort of thing. I said we weren't involved in any of that. And so on the 1st of March, I sent a letter to his counsel and basically told him that there were 12 years of minutes they were looking for us to give them, and they could go to the town hall and get those if they wanted them. Darlene and I discussed how much time would be required and felt like it was going to be, I believe we ended up saying it was going to be a minimum of we figured it was going to be a minimum of 13 hours. No, minimum of 8 hours for us to just try to pull this stuff together, even if we just sent them to look at the minutes in the town hall. So he backed off. He said he wasn't looking for any of this. So I was able to pretty much answer all their questions. And on March 16th, Kara Dayhill got a email back from his counsel that basically said, okay, here's who we want to have responses from. And he basically said that he was reserving the right to request documents responsive to his request in the future, but Mr. Eldridge will defer the request for the time being for anything, any records from the CPC. So that went away, which I'm glad to say, because I don't think I know they wouldn't have gotten anything that was meaningful for them whatsoever.
Not if they went for that.
When we had that discussion at the last meeting, are all our records at
Yes.
town hall now?
Yes,
Did
they
they
are.
all go there?
All of them are. I went, after the last meeting, I went to town hall, and Kara showed me everything, and it's 100% of our records.
Excellent.
So everything is there. There's nothing missing. I thought maybe there were a few of the earliest years missing. Not true. They're all
Good.
there.
Good.
Now, are they in print, Bob, or are they on the computer?
They're all in print.
Okay, because I was, being in charge of rec, we were doing the print ones, and then I was told not to. There was no need to. They would have it all online. So I didn't know what to do.
Kara told me that there was no chance of them getting it all scanned in and online. So don't hold your breath.
Okay.
Bob, I have
Well,
another
I mean,
question relating to records keeping. Did we go to town hall and get the funding back for the historical documents?
Yes.
And that's gone back into the budget?
That's been rescinded, yes.
Great, thank you.
So the public records request is done. And the next item was the Mass DOR preliminary estimate for fall 2020. And I have to say, this came out from Preservation Coalition. It's dated the 4th of May. I can tell you that I'm, based on everything that's been going on and based on budgetary constraints that we're hearing about in the state, this may or may not be true, but their estimate for the first round of funding for this fall is 11.2%. That is the number that Meg LeMay has used in putting together projected numbers. Of course, since we get funding rounds 1, and then we get funding round 2, and then we get funding round 3, our general amount would be above 11.2%, so we can be looking at potentially, I'd say 20%. But given all the funding that's been going into this, everything COVID related, who knows? It's all earmarked directly out of registry deeds and deed transfers, but there's been a slight slowdown, but is now picking up in terms of home sales. So who knows? I just think I can tell you we're working on the estimate where Meg is using, and I agree with her, using a conservative estimate for our budgetary numbers for next year, which is good. And so the next item is CPC article for town meeting, and for those who got it, I sent. Sorry, Connie, but I sent out.
I already checked. I looked at it on the agenda.
Okay. What happened was, in the past 7 years, Michael has been writing the articles. I haven't had to worry about the articles. Michael left.
And this year?
And Michael left, and I got in touch with Elaine Weston and said, can you send me a copy of the article? Well, the article came to me, and there were no dollar numbers filled in on anything, which prior to Michael coming on board, I had been used to putting all these numbers in myself and writing the articles myself. Michael, in the past 7 years, was writing the articles and putting in all the numbers himself. So I ended up getting it. I got in touch with Meg and said, okay, what is it that you feel we should be putting in for all of these various items? And she sent me the color version that I sent you, which is the history of CPA return on investment, which was as of May 5th this year. And I took the numbers that she had on the 2021 line, which is in one of the yellow lines, the top yellow line on what I sent you, and basically took those numbers and plugged those into the article. So it's pretty much a standard article. It's still it's a bundled article, as Michael has done in the past. But the numbers that I put in there were for administrative expenses, which were allowed 5% of the overall monies coming in. I put in $28,680. So, and then we've got reserves for open space, $329,025. And we've got reserves for community housing of $57,360. And estimated revenues, and Darlene, you have all this stuff in the article that I sent. Estimated revenues for the historic reserve are $57,360. So our total request this year is $472,425. So it's pretty much in line with what, you know, she put in the 329,025 based on monies that were continuing to be expended on the ball fields and playground project. And so I'm pretty comfortable with what we've got in there. I understand that this article will be in the June town meeting and not in the fall town meeting, which it sort of has to be because, you know, we're authorizing more funding to be spent on ongoing projects. So it's not like they can say, okay, well, you know, we won't take this up until next year, until 4 months into the next fiscal year. So a lot of the verbiage that's in there is still Michael's verbiage, but I think it basically says what we want it to be saying for presentation at town meeting.
Are you open for discussion, Bob?
Yes, I am.
The line that says, you know, these funds will be expended with the town administrator and the chairman of the CPC. I think it needs to be the entire committee. If we're going to give you know how I feel about the town administrator being able to expend these funds as he sees fit, even though we get to vote on them.
Right, and I have issues with him doing the whole planning and
right, me too.
Of the money.
I don't have any problem with that, particularly given the fact that we've got Rick back in there at this point, because in, you know, the history that I know with Rick, he's more hands-off, and you know, he's much more wanting to let the entity that's doing the project and the committee communicate more. So I don't.
Well, then can we take the town administrator out of there?
I think we need to give it. I don't have any problem with saying to authorize a town administrator in consultation with the community preservation committee, and take out the chairperson, but just make it the committee. I can do that to expend such funds. I can communicate that tomorrow to Elaine and have that fixed.
Yes, that's fine with me, as long as because so some of the projects in this town have gone sideways because the committees that have funded and paid for them and the various citizens haven't had the opportunity to have a say on the design or the planning of the project. So that would be fine with me as long as there's an agreement that you know. I mean, in emergency situations, things have to be done. But in general, some of the projects just have been run over the town rather than included.
Well, I probably want to talk to Rick, make sure he's in agreement with this. I don't think he'll have any problem with it, but then I can easily transmit the change to Elaine and get that fixed.
I don't think we should vote on the article until we know what the wording's gonna be.
No, I think what we want to do is vote on the article with the wording that we want, and if I don't get Rick to agree with it, then we'll have to come back for another vote. But I'd rather
Okay.
rather have the article
Go over the way we want it.
voted the way we want it, and if they say no, then we'll have to have an interim meeting between now and town meeting.
The other question I have, the 28,000 for administration, how do we have oversight with those funds?
We have total oversight of those funds. No one else can touch them. We're the only ones that have oversight.
Okay, good.
They're not available for anything else. If we only spend $680, $28,000 goes back into unrestricted funds.
Perfect.
My last question, the totality of the revenues for open spaces is to pay for ongoing projects?
Is what?
The totality of open space spending that we're doing is
Yep.
for ongoing projects?
Yes. Just ongoing projects. It's not. We're not putting any of those monies into reserves. Those are for ongoing projects.
For what, 10 years or 5 years?
So that
20, no.
and every year we keep building for I mean, the amount of undesignated funds right now as of May 5th for community housing is, we have in our coffers $477,000. In our historic preservation we have almost $286,000. So we've got a lot of money that's sitting there that can be used for stuff. And
Bob, can I ask, are we contributing to the proposed project on Silver Street?
no one's approached us on anything regarding that.
Yeah,
Okay.
not yet.
I would have concerns.
And that, it depend, and that would require an entire major process in terms of us looking at it, reviewing it, discussing it, deciding whether we feel like it's a worthy project or not. So it would be a full, long, drawn out process. And I can tell you that it would be probably a more open process given the current administration.
Because I know you said that it was going to be 100% affordable housing, but at the last meeting I was at when they did the presentation, they were talking 20 to 25%,
Really?
not 100%.
They were also talking, what, 150 units?
Around 150 units, yes.
And that's how they came to the 25%, because under our bylaws, that's what has to be affordable.
Okay, yeah. Well, I thought our bylaws stated 10%.
But I think if you go over a certain amount of units, the percentage goes up.
Okay. And it should.
Yep. I mean, that's a big, 150 units for that plot of land. I mean, there's, what is it? I think it's about nine acres of land.
Approximately, yes.
But there's a big thing of power lines running right through the middle of it.
Yep.
So,
Is it condos?
they were talking 3-story apartment buildings, I think, right?
Right. Yeah.
Not something we've ever seen before.
Nope.
Yeah.
It's a brave new world, 2020.
Oh, good, it's not us, so.
Right. Let someone else figure that one out.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to ask for a motion on this article. I don't know right now it's listed as Article 7. I don't have any idea whether it's going to stay Article 7 or not. But it's the Community Preservation Committee report and recommendations. Basically, it's the article as I sent it out to you with the deletion of the word chairperson in the paragraph under the word total. So basically it says to authorize the town administration in consultation with the Community Preservation Committee to expend such funds in the most fiscally responsible manner and manage the do I hear a motion for the article?
So moved.
Do I
I'll
hear a
second.
Okay, motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion? Dan, do you have any questions? I know you came in late.
Yeah, sorry, I had some technical difficulties here. Now, as of right now, no, unless at some point the language is not going to change from here on out, or
If I go to, I'm basically going to take out chairperson. So it basically makes, the town administrator consult with the entire committee. And if I go to Rick and he says that he'd rather not communicate with the entire committee, then I would have to get back to the committee and talk about it. But having worked with Rick for as many years as I have, I can't imagine that he's going to give me any grief. I mean, I
no objection here.
okay. All right. Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Motion's unanimous. So great. I will talk to, I'll try to talk to Rick tomorrow, although I found that sometimes Fridays are not good days to try to get in touch. So let's see, next item is any potential upcoming projects, if anybody's heard of any. And obviously we have the potential project on Silver Street. But that's, until we see anything hard and fast on that, that's speculation, I guess, at this point.
It is. It's probably a couple years away.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, it might be a while.
okay. And I haven't heard of anything else that's potentially coming up. Although, I would love to see some, historic preservation projects at the very least come up. It'd be real nice. And I keep driving past Union Church and looking at those
The
spires.
Yeah.
spires, and they're just getting worse and worse and worse
Yep.
every time I drive by.
Yep.
But
Historical hasn't met for a while. So we've been kind of laying low because of all the COVID stuff, but
well, if you want to, pass on that we're hopeful that someone's going to come up and make some sort of a proposal.
Yep.
With that said, I still have strong concerns about Union Church just because of the name.
Understood. Maybe we can put something together for the fall town meeting.
Yep. Okay.
So, we'll see if I can get the committee to meet. That's the first thing that we need to do.
Yep. Yep.
Oh.
Okay.
Has there ever been a forum set up to sort of set up a community brainstorming forum as to really get some real direct input from the community as to projects they'd like to see?
Not since Jack Hunter left.
Yeah, it was back when Jack Hunter was with us. And,
Yeah.
And then actually, even in the earliest days, there were forums put together just to encourage people to vote for the Community Preservation Act in terms of what people might be interested in. And then I think within the first year or 2 years of our being a committee, we ended up having some brainstorming sessions in terms of coming up with projects. But the good news is that way back when with Jack Hunter, we were getting projects in left and right, and that was good. And we are looking for more projects, and affordable housing and historic preservation are definitely high on the priority list. I mean, I was in the town of Rentham a while ago, and I came across a brochure that was done on the hiking trails in Rentham. And I'm thinking to myself,
Mhm.
nice little booklet. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, that'd be great. If we had somebody who wanted to have some funding to put together a little booklet of the hiking trails in the town of Carver. That I think that would be great. And you take into account all of the hiking trails that we have, and there's a good number. And
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things that I've been sort of picking away at through conservation, through scouting, is setting up eagle projects to preserve some of our conservation properties. But some of needs to be done is well beyond an eagle project. On a couple of especially up at the coal property, I'm thinking. So there's certainly some in-kind help that can be had for labor that the project's done, but materials-wise, there are some things that go well on some high school person doing a project.
Yeah, I'd love to see say even a Bridgewater State person who would be interested in doing up a monograph on the hiking trails in Carver. The Cole property, the Savory Avenue, potentially even figuring out some trails in the Great Cedar Swamp, which I think we'd have to get in there and cut some trails first, because from what I've been told, you can get in there and you can get yourself very lost. So I don't think we want to send somebody in there.
Yeah, and of course,
Pardon?
sorry, just with some existing trails as well that just have overgrown. So.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Did CPC originally do the Savory Meadows walking paths? Who did those? Do you know?
CPC did not. Savory Meadows, if there were any done,
Savory Avenue, the out behind,
Savory Avenue was done by the Concom.
the actual street, you mean?
The Savory Avenue hiking trail was done by the Conservation Commission. And initially it was a really nicely done trail, because it actually had it was an interpretive trail where you actually had plaques that said, look at this plant, this is what this plant is.
Yes.
Unfortunately, those have all.
Oh, there was.
Yeah, it's all overgrown and stuff now, I've been told. Someone came to me and asked if I was in charge of it, and I didn't think I was.
You are now, Mary.
Yeah.
You're in charge.
You're elected. Your turn.
Well, at one point I approached Jim Nowen about, getting out there and doing some trail work, and he was like, yeah, I suppose that would be good, but it wasn't strongly endorsed. But that's a nice little hiking trail off Savory.
Uh-huh.
So who would do that kind of work of revamping the trails? Would you hire?
So, in terms of the actual trail work, that's right now, conservation's actually been talking about it. There's talking about putting together some volunteer crews for that, but actually setting up a program so that we don't get a couple volunteers that get burnt out, in 1 year, but actually have a program where essentially it'd be a sort of an ambassadors of conservation. And, they can not only learn about things in the field, but actually learn about policy. And perhaps we can, as the committee evolves, we can have some homegrown conservation commission folk. I suggested the same thing for a couple other committees to have either, whether it be an internship or whatever, but have some high school kids, but adults as well. So there'd be a bit of a crew to drum up volunteerism as well for that same mission.
Yeah, and I actually do a lot of trail work for the Appalachian Mountain Club, and I actually have a trail in Miles Stenders that I maintain, have maintained for way too many years. But there's a lot of work that can be done, and there's a lot of, I've used the Southeastern Mass Chapter Trails Committee a number of times to help me on trail work in Miles Standish. And, I think there's possibility of finding other organizations that would have some manpower too. I think of the Trustees of Reservations. I think of Wildlands Trust. I know that the Trustees of Reservations has a number of properties around here. Wildlands Trust has a number of properties around here. I know Wildlands Trust is always looking for more volunteers to do trail work. So chances are, if we could get some people in to help them do trail work, we may be able to have some reciprocity where they would be willing to come out and help someone in the town do some trail work. But
Are the high school kids, what is that program beyond the curriculum? They're supposed to do some special projects. I forget, Mary, do you know what that's called?
No, I know the high school does have an after-school environmental club, but I don't know if what you're referring to, Gail.
But those extra
Nonprofit organization.
things they're supposed to do for the community to graduate. What happened to that?
Their community service.
Right.
They have to log in a certain number of community service hours.
Okay, so they're in high school, and maybe there's some kids that are oriented towards going into environmental science or biology or, botany, whatever, might be their strengths or interest. Maybe we could try to steer them in the direction and combine it with rec too. You can get a good workout going in there, chopping down trees and stuff. Whatever. Bushwhacking.
I think it would have to wait until the fall.
Right. Well, we'll see what the fall brings too. We don't know if the kids will be in the school, and maybe we need to kind of rethink how the curriculum by then,
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
It makes sense.
It's just, anyway, I was thinking about how those, what did you call that category in school again?
It's community service hours.
Okay. I haven't heard about that in a long time. Have you?
They need to do it on their junior year. We have a junior in high school making picnic tables for the playground area.
Great.
As part of
so
its community service.
Oh.
Yeah, it's still
Good.
happening. Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay. Don't hear about it.
I
We
thought
need
you were
those good-
talking about a specific course,
No,
Yeah,
not specific, but certainly we can make it appetizing to those that are interested in something like that. It wouldn't be such a drag for them, say, to have something. What's that?
I'm sorry. Before the COVID-19 issue started, we were starting to procure volunteers for junior and seniors for internships with DCR over Miles Standish, and the point was to get them community service hours, but also get them field time in the areas of conservation, working with DCR for the potential of employment in the following summer. So,
What is DCR, Dan?
what's that?
What is DCR?
Department of Conservation and Recreation.
Okay.
Yeah, the headquarters over at Mount Standish is where we were going to place them.
Okay.
So I'm not sure we can really do an awful lot on this, but Dan, if you want to pursue that more in terms of trail work stuff, give me a holler. But
yeah, what I'll do is I have a sort of an outline already kind of put together. I can share that with the committee, just so you can see what the format is, and certainly any input I'd appreciate.
okay. All right, so I think that's probably it on this potential upcoming projects. Any other issues that we have? And the last item is setting the next meeting and date and adjourn. I'm not sure we can set the next meeting date because I believe the next meeting date that we would have would usually be the fourth Thursday, and I believe that's right when town meeting's going to be happening. And although the town meeting in theory is the beginning of the week, you know, who knows whether it's how many nights it's going to go. So let's sort of leave the next meeting date up in the air, and I'll communicate like I have been in terms of availability, and then as soon as I find out there's enough people available, then we can post another meeting. What I figure is going to be happening for this foreseeable future is we're going to be encouraged to have Zoom meetings and not in-person meetings. So,
Well, Bob,
yep.
since we've already been a week later than we usually, do you want to set that sequence? Since you're thinking that that week of the town meeting might tie up too much, why not kind of pencil in the first Thursday in June?
That's,
Unless somebody has a conflict with
that's 4th of July weekend.
Oh, we're already in June. Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay. Whoa. Oh, that's going to be interesting.
So
Okay.
I'd rather sort of leave it up in the air.
Thank you for reminding me.
I've had good response back from you guys to tell me whether you're available or not, and
Yeah.
it seems to be working okay. So I do expect we're going to be doing Zoom meetings for the next few meetings at least. So hopefully this worked out okay.
Yeah, it did.
If this was streaming out to the entire town of Carver, thank you for watching.
And it was.
It was. Oh, you know, okay.
Yes.
So thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed our meeting as much as we did. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Right.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you and good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody.